Hello everyone, this is Jim Okorzinski with this week's lecture video. So I thought this week, since I do not have a PowerPoint presentation to finish out our Module 3 in the proposal assignment, I would return to my regular screencast software to discuss some of the basics when it comes to getting ready to submit your final draft. So obviously the process is where we work through some invention activity, which was the discussion board, coming up with a problem solution format. I've provided many videos out about this subject, the topics, and also the proposal structure. The drive instructions are available in the Canvas course. So I would just discuss a little bit the kind of necessary step before you submit a final essay for grading. So it's always a good practice to run back through some of the basic information in the module. So beginning here in Module 3, I'm looking at the overview and the objectives of the proposal unit. Here you will also find a PDF copy of the learning materials, which discusses the um, process, how it is to write about a problem solution essay, and also remember the organizational structure on how to organize this essay, two pathways for openings, and how to discuss problem and then solution are all available in the learning materials. So you can click here, you can get a PDF, or you can find a copy of this in the Drive folder. So here are the course outcomes from the syllabus that apply to this particular unit. And as I move through this, you want to always review some of the outcomes to see if you're achieving those outcomes in your essay, and that'll come into play, especially in our final reflection assignment at the end of the semester. So, as a good practice, you should always read the instructions one more time before you get ready to make your revisions based upon either my comments or your peer review comments. In order to give your peer reviewers an opportunity, you have to try to get as close to a full draft as possible, and that way everybody can provide some feedback, right? So you remember, it's problem solution, that's the proposal format. If in the work world you write proposals all the time, in fact, I just assigned a proposal assignment for my workplace writing class at the College of DuPage where they have to identify problems and provide solutions that actually leads to a formal report. So the proposal is a very effective genre in all sorts of writing, not only in college but in the work world. So remember, you want to talk about a problem of manageable scale and discuss its causes and effects. You want to determine and dramatize the problem to promote the seriousness. Okay. You have to use your outside sources to help you do this. And you have to come up with solutions, right? Solutions for your problem. And as always, before you move on, you want to look at the example and just look at the example for its structure, how the essay was structured, the opening, the thesis, discussion of the problem, the language, and how the voice is established. So it's kind of critical to take a look at the example in that way. All right, how the works cited page is even formatted. All right. Also, you want to double check some of your research, right? So the idea here is some of the library resources that I've had in the Canvas page here to help you look for some sources. Maybe the ones that you've selected are not really working, but you want to make sure that you get some good information about your particular topic. And once again, you want to review how you're using and citing sources as you're going through your revision, right? Are you cross-referencing? Are you introducing your sources? How are you working with the author, or are you taking control of the conversation and controlling your information and writing what you think, or are you using language this source says? All right, we have conversations with authors. It's always easier to have a conversation with a human being than just an article printed on a piece of paper, right? So the idea here is to always look at how you're using and citing sources. If you want to refresh, you can look back on my particular lecture video on using and citing sources. Here is a different alternative here at the bottom of this particular page. All right, so the idea then is I'm going to move through the discussion boards. Let's see, let's get back to the module because I have to scroll through all the boards here. Be sure you're aware of the Google Drive instructions as to what happens for SA3. Remember, there's a special edition video posted in the announcements page. Also, you want to make sure that in the peer review report, all right, some students have uploaded reports, but I have not been able to find drafts. If you finish your draft or locate your draft into the course folder following the Google Drive instructions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to award the report points back. But it's pretty clearly stated in the syllabus about having a full draft in order to get some peer review points here. All right, so you're also going to want to take some time and look in the peer review report. If you have something in the way of a draft, or you've successfully completed your draft, I have provided some feedback on your draft, and I've written it in the comments section of the peer review report. All right, you cannot see comments from your phone. Unfortunately, you have to log into a computer. So when you get a chance, not only look at your grade, but also look at your comments. Even if you haven't finished a draft and you might have a half a draft, I've tried to supply some feedback, but that is written in the peer review report comments section. I don't like particularly working in drafts while the peer review process is happening, because students sometimes either abandon after I comment in a draft, or I get a lot of, well, what Mr. O says. So I'd like to preserve the peer review process, and I've done that. All right. So look for the comments in the peer review report. Remember, the two peer reviews, the links for your two peer reviews are due, I believe it is due sometime. Second video is due Tuesday. Second peer review is due Tuesday the 14th, which is today when I'm recording this particular lecture video. So you want to make sure that you also are aware about the peer reviews, right? So the idea here is the final essay upload. All right. So be sure that you upload. This is just a single link, so it's taking a website URL. And one item I usually pass out in class that I have uploaded here in the Canvas, since this is our first essay as we moved into the online environment, is a final review and editing checklist. I'll create a link to the PDF and the announcement in Canvas in a few minutes. So there's some really good tips here about reading your essay aloud. It works. Back in my days at UIC, I was a writing center tutor, and it's amazing. And when students read their essays out loud to me, what could be discovered by them about their particular writings, right? So you're looking to remove cliches. As always, MLA guidelines. You have your margins, and are you double space? Read the essay aloud again. Does it make sense, right? Are your problems clear? Are your solutions viable? Is your opening one of the two strategies that were offered in the organizational outline information in the learning materials? Look for any spelling mistakes, right? Look for a spell checker. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're capitalizing what is a proper noun, and not capitalizing something that doesn't really require to be capitalized. I can always provide everybody a link to my capitalization video. Okay. Always you want to make sure punctuation is correct, commas used where they need to be used and not anywhere else. If you put that MLA header on there, right, should be on the left hand side of your full name, class name, paper name, and a date. Have you included a title centered and bolded, right? Not centered, not bolded, I should say, I'm sorry, or underlined that is unique and eye-catching. So this is just a final self-review and editing checklist for you to look at before you prepare your final draft to be uploaded for review. All right, so I'm going to get out of this and I'll link it up. That's about it for how to work through the process prior to final submission and some of the steps you should just practice in pulling together your final assignment, right? So, if you have any questions or issues, please send me an email. Good luck and stay safe.